Welcome to the Level Up Your Band podcast, episode 70. Hello, and welcome back to the Level Up Your Band podcast. My name is Gavin Patterson, and I'm back on the Zoom with my boy Julian Pombo.
Long story short, my car bad. My car stinky.
Yeah.
Don't work. Let me re-angle my camera a little bit, because every time I look somewhere, my hat. Actually, I'm just gonna take my hat off. That's what I'll do.
Yep.
There we go. Expose my awful bed hair, but that's okay.
That's fine.
There we go. Anyway.
So your shock absorbers.
Rear shock absorber just died.
So it basically means like every time your car like sees anything like slightly worrying, it's like, oh no! It can't brace itself for the shock. It's just sitting there at the light. It's like, oh, I'm so nervous to. No, that's not what shock absorbers do. It was a poor attempt at a joke.
No. Yeah, basically it wasn't me that was driving. It was Rachel was driving it, and all she heard was this horrible squealing and grinding, and she thought she was going to die. She was just like, the car's going to explode or something, man, like just freaking out. Anyway, so I don't have a car. It's getting fixed, but don't know when I'm going to get it. Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. Zoom will do. Zoom will
do for today.
You'll probably be back
Sadly,
next week.
It means I don't get to taste any of Gavin's delicious coffee.
Yeah.
But anyway, so today's episode, we've touched on, it's one of these things that we have constantly dropped in multiple episodes, but we never really sort of like sat down and talked about it properly. So talked a lot about practicing and rehearsing as a band, but we've not dedicated a full episode to it. So that's what we're going to be doing today, is talking about how to actually practice good with your band and get the most out of it. So let's just get into it. So let's talk about before the rehearsal. We've spoken about this before. But make sure you actually practice your parts beforehand. It's really important. Just one
seems obvious, but
it seems obvious, but you have no idea how much time that saves if you actually know how to play your parts properly, or to the best of your ability anyway. If you learned something a little weird, that's fine, that can get sorted out in a rehearsal. So I'm not trying to pressure people into being like, it needs to be perfect before I go in. Just make sure you at least have an idea of what's happening,
like song structure, and like knowing
song structure,
how long does that verse go and all that.
Make sure you're playing things in the correct key, that kind of thing. It's important. It seems so obvious, but it's so useful. And again, we've spoken about this in previous podcasts. Make sure your instrument's in good shape.
Wash it twice daily.
Yes, wash it twice. Make sure you feed it 3 times a day. All that good stuff. It's just if you want us to go into more detail, you can listen back to the episodes that we did on like guitar and bass and things like that, because we go into the maintenance parts of those instruments anyway. So just go and listen to those, but make sure you have fresh strings on, stuff like that.
It's like underwear. It's like, think of strings as underwear. Like, you don't go out with underwear you've been wearing for 6 days or a week. Like you freshen them up every now and again. Just
totally. Like if you are really tight for money, boiling your strings for bass anyway. I don't know about guitar, but for bass, boiling your strings is a pretty quick fix.
Yeah.
It does work.
Like guitar, the problem with guitar is rust. Putting them in water, I imagine, would just speed up that process. I'm not quite sure, but you know, guitar strings get all black and like rusty.
Yeah,
so,
but they get black because of, well, it depends on how sweaty your hands are. For bass, because the strings are so chunky, it's just bits of dead skin and stuff just get stuck in between the ridges, and it's lovely. It's really, really nice. But so that's what you're boiling off.
Yeah, you're just boiling them so you can make a stock for some soup.
Oh! Ew! No, anyway. And you know, if I don't know, if you're rehearsing at, like, say we're rehearsing at your place, Gavin, right? Same thing applies to drummers. You know, you don't want to be playing with like super old drum skins that sound like crap.
Yeah,
you know,
it messes with the resonance of the drum. When the drum head vibrates, if it's old, it doesn't vibrate as long as it should because it's so dented and stuff. It'll basically, the decay of your drums, or the dum, will be shorter.
Yeah.
It'll be like dum. So
Yeah.
when you get new heads on your kit, everything's so ringy and nice. It's got a nice clean warm tone. It's just better. But I recommend snare drums replacing heads. If you're gigging a lot and playing a lot, I recommend changing your snare head like once every 3 months, maybe. Maybe 4 months, depending. It just depends. But toms, like I change them like once every 3 years or something. It's not a long time.
Totally. It depends on usage, doesn't it? You know,
kick drum heads
snare
is like never. It's so rare. I think I've had 3 kick drum heads in 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Right. And the last one is make sure you sleep.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah.
Well, it's so, because if you're you want to be mentally switched on.
Yeah.
You want to be rested up. I've been in rehearsals where I've either been sick or I felt like crap, and I'm tired. I can't contribute properly, and it's just it's never been a good time. So like making sure you're nice and healthy, kind of important, Yeah. Also, actually, I didn't put that in there, but it kind of, if you are sick, I don't know, like what. I think if you're sick, you should probably just take time off. Just don't go to that rehearsal, because I think you're in an enclosed space with people, and then you'll just get everybody else sick. Do you know what I mean?
Yep. Even not just sick, like brain sick. I'll give you an example. Like 10 years ago now, that was at the very end of my 10 years ago. I'm 29, so I was 19. It was at that point in my musical time where I was starting to. So when I was 17, 18, I joined like a million bands. I was like 10 bands. There was all these projects, and I was sustaining this over time. And some of them were starting to get more busy, and which meant I was constantly out of the house rehearsing and stuff, and it was getting a bit much. And it was around about 10 years ago. I was like 19 or 20. I was driving on the way to rehearsal. I had already been at a rehearsal, I think, that afternoon, and I came home for like dinner and then went back out again, and I had like another one the following day, and I had just so much, and I was driving and I started feeling kind of weird, and it was basically like a mini anxiety attack, and it was at that point I was like, right, I pulled into the lay-by, phoned someone in the rehearsal. I was like, I can't do this. I'm totally done. My energy levels have just collapsed. So I turned round went home and just slept, and it was so much better. I just was pushing myself too much, I just had to take the time off, and it was at that point I just started culling bands and kept the ones that I really cared about the most.
Yeah, totally. It's really, really important. You know, your mental health is really, really important, and your physical health also really important. So there you go. That's it's quite a lot already, but that's all the stuff that you need to have
before
ready to go.
Yeah.
Before you actually go into the rehearsal space. All right, but it's a good thing to sort of think about.
Yes,
right.
yes.
So, you've done all that. It's fine. You're now in the rehearsal space, and this is a lot of stuff can go wrong. I've been in some pretty crappy rehearsals in my time where nothing has happened, and it can get a bit frustrating.
Yep.
At times, you know. I'll tell some stories along the way, but
okay.
as you know, as they come up, you know, pick all the good relevant ones. So, first one is make sure that the goal for the rehearsal is crystal clear, right? So, you know, whether it's like if you're practicing a new song, or it's a writing session that you're doing, or you're getting ready for a string of gigs or a tour or a recording session, whatever it is, like everybody that is in that rehearsal knows today we are rehearsing for this thing. Yes. Right? So important. Because if you're just going in, we're like, oh yeah, we're just going in and we're just gonna jam and stuff. It's like, no, it's, you know, already there's no focus. And I think that focus is so important, you know. It doesn't matter if it's like, if you've got nothing in a pipeline, right? Create a reason anyway. So what is it? You know, are we like revising like old tunes? You know, you're playing through them again.
Yep.
You know, there was a worldwide pandemic and nobody was allowed to play together for years and years. So you're getting back into the studio to go over stuff. You know what? You know, weird little reasons like that. You know, so totally. And I found that when you do go into a rehearsal where there is a clear goal in mind, so much more stuff actually gets done.
Who does that? Who takes charge of that? Is it someone who's like, this is what we need to do, or is it beforehand? Is it at the time? Do you say on a Facebook chat before, oh, I think we should do these things, or like? Yeah,
I think so. I mean, I was kind of writing this assuming that you've already got things happening, you know. So each week you're going into rehearse, you're going to be talking about the plan for next week. You know, and you've got that sort of rolling. I guess that kind of applies as well. So, like, once you have rehearsed and it's gone fine, you then need to set up what you're going to be doing next time, next rehearsal. You know, it's really, really important to keep that going. You'll find that you're more productive. People are more switched on, more focused. You know, but yeah, I guess it's like, I don't know. I'm thinking in our band, for example, Aileen's the one that secures a lot of our gigs and our dates. You know, so she'll tell us like, oh, we've got this, this, and this coming up. So then we'll go, right, okay, well, we should practice for that then.
Yeah, you know? And it's based on, we have a 40-minute set, so let's spend some time thinking about what songs we can fit in there and then practice those songs, you know.
Exactly. You know, stuff like that. Or sometimes we have been asked to, like, you know, we need to play for like a whole bunch of time, and then we're like, okay, we need to write.
Yeah.
We need to write a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so just having those having that sort of a focus for each rehearsal, really, really important, I think.
Unbelievably, yeah.
Anyway, and actually, before I carry on, you know, it was the same with recording. You know, we decide, well, we're in a pretty big band, you know, 6 people, so we just kind of made a decision of like, right, let's make sure that the rhythm section is really tight. Let's just practice that. make sure that's okay, and then tune people can make sure that they're playing the tune correctly with all the right ornaments, blah blah blah, and the harmonies are all fine, etc., etc.
That's a point. Yeah, that's really important that people never ever do. I was on a phone call with someone about this, and they were asking like, what's the best way of gelling bass and drums together in a rehearsal room? And I was like, well, you can. Obviously, you just listen to what the drummer's doing and you play accordingly and you can bounce off each other. But if that's not happening, if there's loads of other things happening in the studio, the guitars are too loud and you're not really focused in, and the guitarist is like, I'm not turning my amp down, then what I suggest to do is to just arrange another day, another practice hour or two with, if you're a bassist, you and the drummer. Mm-hmm. Or you, the drummer, and the rhythm player,
and rhythm,
and the three of you, four of you, two of you, whatever, just go like, see for that verse part. Can I just hear what you're playing drums, right? And then they play the drums, and it's like, okay, so the kick drum's doing that, right? I've never really heard that properly before. A lot of bands, I get a lot of this when I record a band. And you'll get like a guitarist going to the drummer like, is that what you always play? Aye. I've played that for years. Huh. I didn't know you were doing that with your kick drum. I'm playing a totally opposite thing. That's funny.
Yeah. And this idea isn't even new. Like, I was doing this in like when, in orchestra rehearsals.
Yeah, it's called sectional rehearsals.
Sectional rehearsals in which it can even get to the point where it's just flutes.
Yes.
Let's go and rehearse. Just first violins, just second violins, just cellos. All the different sections, and then you start grouping up together. So it's strings,
so beneficial.
Woodwind, brass, percussion, and then woodwind and brass, and then you bring it all together, and then everybody knows exactly what they're supposed to be doing. It's all great. And I think that would be, so many bands would benefit from that.
Yeah.
100%. And you'd find that your playing will become a lot better. And yeah,
so overlooked. Nobody ever does it.
It's so overlooked.
And I've anyone who asks like, how can we get tighter as a rhythm section? I'm like, do that. That is like unbelievably effective, because like you said, that's what the orchestras have been doing for hundreds of years. Mm-hmm. It's because it works. It's a great way of removing the clutter from the sound and just hearing the part that's directly related to your part. So, for example, drums and bass are always linked pretty close together. So having them just isolated on their own is quite revealing, because it can be like, oh, there's something I was doing that's completely conflicting with the drums. We knew something was off, but we didn't know until now. It's kind of zooming in on it and like, oh, there's a problem.
Right. Yeah. Also, just on a kind of a salty note, you can get one of these.
Oh no! My eyes! No!
It's surprisingly handy. Does a lot. You don't even have to buy one. I just bought one because I wanted to be fancy.
It's a metronome, by the way, for podcast people.
For podcast people, yeah. You can get it for free.
What's a metronome? It's an analog click. It's an analog click track.
That you can. It's great. It's fantastic.
Yep.
Really, really useful. Anyway, this kind of ties in with having a clear goal. Keep a set list. Keep a list of tunes, and work through it as well. I don't find that it's very helpful to just be like, right, what will we play now? And because then you're like sitting about going, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
What will we play? And then loads of time gets wasted with people being like, what tunes did we play again?
Yeah, you end up leaving and then you go, oh crap, we forgot to rehearse that one.
There's a really good, you probably know, you're probably aware of this app. It's free. It's called Band Helper. I don't know if you know it.
No, don't think so.
I would show you, but I'm using my phone as a webcam.
Fair enough.
Basically, it's just a set list app, and the thing that's really cool about it is that you can link your account to a bunch of other phones, and they just have instant access to the set list. And you can have lyrics, you can have chords, you can have all of it, and it's just there. Really handy if
free.
You're. As far as I'm aware, let me check. I didn't have to pay anything for it.
Band helper, was it?
Even then, it's not that expensive. It's like £12 for a year. Or like if that's for a solo artist, if you're in a band with like 2 to 5 members, which is most people, it's £30 a year. $30 a year. So that's like 20 something pounds a year.
Yeah,
it's nothing.
That's
really.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you're struggling with that,
when you compare that, I'm gonna be that really annoying guy. When you compare that to like Netflix subscription, it's nothing.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
And it's split 6 ways or 5 ways or 4 ways or whatever. Put it on the band. Put it on the band account.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like $3 a month split like 6 ways.
Yep.
It's like 50 cents. Just nothing, man. Yep. Band helper, really, really useful. That's for the really basic one though. There's one where you can have like the pro account lets you like have your repertoire and a schedule and contacts, finance, checklist, files, stage plots, practice logs, whatever. But you only really need the repertoire, or like the plus account, which gives you like schedule and contacts modules and stuff. So
that's cool. It's a cool
no
app.
Excuse. It's really, really good app. Really, really helpful. Really useful.
I should reach out to them so we can get a sponsor. Makes sense.
That'd be sick. Anyway, so that's really, really useful to do. Just if you like, you don't even have. That's like the high tech version, like you can just have a physical list, like a Google Doc or something that everybody can access.
Such a caveman.
And then you can,
nothing wrong with that.
Anyway, next one. This is really important for everybody, is scheduling your breaks. If you're going to be 3 hours is a long time, right? Why don't you stick in like 2 15-minute breaks or something? 45 minutes, take a break. Another 45 minutes, take a break. Practice another 45 minutes. 10 to 15 minutes to pack up. Done.
Yeah.
And then it means that you're using those 45 minutes to like really, work away, and practice, and just having it there. People need to go to the toilet and stuff. So schedule in your breaks, rather than just like playing a tune and then going off on one about, I don't know, some story about a mad uncle or something, like, I don't know.
How much you hate your wife.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
Hey guys, I just wanted to let you know, I really, really hate my wife. Oh, me too, mate. Me too.
I decided to have them. Classic boomer chat. But anyway, you get the point. Schedule in your 15 minutes to complain about how terrible your suburban life is, and then you can get back to actually rehearsing and doing something. We kind of touched on this already, but scheduling rehearsals. As soon as you finish your rehearsal, that last 10 to 15 minutes while you're packing up, to be like, right, so same time, blah blah blah, and then make a clear plan of like, this is what we're going to be practicing, and this, that, the next. Really, really, really useful. Really just good to know, because then people know what to practice in their spare time, or what to practice at home rather, and they know they already know what's happening, so there's no ambiguity, you know. And the last thing is, this is about sort of taking care of yourself. Make sure that when you are picking a time for a rehearsal, you're picking a time as best as you can that is good for everybody. Right? So what I mean by that is, if say you're in charge of the band and you're a night owl, right? None of the rest of the band is, but you quite selfishly decide, nah, we're just gonna do it. We're gonna do a 9 till 12 every night because I'm gonna be switched on, and then the rest of your band comes in and they're all sleepy because they're ready to, like myself, right? I hate 9 till 12s so much because I'm like, by 9 o'clock, I'm like, right, time to get into bed, have a little sippy of something warm, and then go to sleep. You know, I have a whole routine now, but you know, and if the rest of your band is like that, they're not going to be switched on at all. They're going to hate you.
Well, advice for people who are in that situation where someone who's booking the band says, "Can we do 9 till midnight?" If you are free, and free meaning you're not booked, but you don't like going out that time, then you're busy. You're busy sleeping. Yeah. That's part of your diary. You should think of that as a scheduled meeting in your diary.
Yeah.
Bed. Right? Taking that away from you is not, you're like, oh, everyone else is free, I'll just, yeah, sure. No, because that's just going to make you unhappy.
Exactly.
It's just gonna make you miserable, and you're gonna be at the rehearsal, and it'll be a downward spiral. It will be bad, especially if you do it over and over and over and over and over.
Exactly.
Week on end. I don't like 9 to midnights. I actually don't allow anyone in the rehearsal studio past 11. I don't allow bookings any later than 11. For that reason, because I'm like, I can't be bothered going round at midnight.
Close it. Yeah, exactly.
Lock the door. 11. Yeah. Sure, 11's fine.
Totally. 100%.
No. Go away.
No.
But I don't like most rehearsal studios work on like 3 hour slots, so it's like 9 till 12 or 3 till 6. But whereas mine is flexible, so I can do that.
But yeah, let's just make sure that everybody is as well accommodated as possible. It's difficult, you know. Somebody will have to make some kind of compromise, I guess, because not everybody's schedules, you know, fits together very nicely, you know. But it's about like, you know, if you've got one person that is maybe not so great with mornings, but everybody else is fine with the mornings, you know, it's kind of about, you have to kind of weigh things up, you know. Yeah, I see what you're saying about the whole like 9 till 12 thing, like nobody else is free, but like if there's other options than just the 9 till 12, then you can definitely say yeah, but at some point somebody's going to have to make a compromise of some description, you know. It's tough.
Yeah. Well, if you can say you're like me and you're like, 9 till 12 is just too much. I can't, because I've got to commute home and all this. But 8 till 11 or 7 till 10 is fine. But the studio we rehearse at doesn't allow that. Why don't I find a studio that does allow that, like Studio 1790? So somewhere that goes like, oh, we do it hourly. So you can pick 3 hours, but you can have them on an hourly basis anytime you want. Doesn't go on to 12, so you've got that extra hour to come home, because you don't want to book 9 till 12 and then leave early, because that's a bummer. Like some people do that, like, oh, I need to go home to my bed, see you later, and then you leave an hour early. Like nobody wants to be that guy.
Yeah, man. Anyway, and then last but not least, a couple of like little I called this rehearsal room etiquette, but I see this stuff. I've seen this all the time. and it really bugs me.
Right. Okay.
So let's these are things that you shouldn't be doing, because it's just annoying, and it does slow down the rehearsal pretty bad. I think guitarists and drummers really bad for this, right? Don't play while other people are talking. I should have added /tuning. It is one of my pet peeves. It's just like, right, I'm gonna start tuning up, even, I mean, I guess it's not so much of a problem if you've got like a digital tuner or something, but like you're tuning away and then all you hear is just pa 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 pa, and somebody just drumming away or guitarist squealing, and it's really annoying. I suppose this is more of a problem for people with acoustic instruments. You've got a fiddle player in your band and they're just like, they're just trying really, really hard, trying to tune, and then there's just some like going on in the background. It's
I think
just stressful.
I've never found myself doing that, and if I do, then I apologize. But I think it's because I was heavily disciplined in that's from a young age in orchestras and stuff. Because if you are caught playing while the conductor or someone is talking to someone or sorting out, you get absolutely rinsed. Yeah. They'll just completely obliterate you. I've seen people get stuff thrown at them. There was a teacher in our school. He was such a legend. If he was like talking to the flutes, like, okay, give me that section again, and there's like some horn player going trying to get this note or whatever, and there was this one rehearsal. He's like, can you please stop? I'm trying to. Okay, right, fine. And then it starts up again, and he just gets his baton and just wheels it across the orchestra and slaps him in the face. Stop! Okay, I've stopped. I was like, shut up.
Thank God it was only a baton and it wasn't like a chair or something, just like
or a cymbal. Yeah.
Anyway, it's equally more annoying when you're trying to talk to somebody, like you've played through something. Example, you played a tune and you're like, there's something that doesn't quite work there. And then, there's just in the corner you just hear like gung, 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 guitarist is like making noise, just like, I've got to practice my gent, man. It's like, no, shut up, please.
So funny. It's like,
no, not now is not the time.
I'm talking about this lyric. What did you mean when you wrote that? Meanwhile, I think now is a good time to practice my palm mutes. Like,
our bass player just starts like, and like slapping away, just.
So funny.
Anyway, and this kind of ties in with the other one. Don't cut people off. Let people finish their point. If somebody's saying something like, "Oh, the guitar doesn't," there was something funny about the guitar, and they're about to explain what they heard, and then rhythm guitarist says something like, "Oh yeah, no, I know what it is. I know what it is. It's fine. I'll fix." It's just like, no, shut up. Just stop. Let them talk. Just this. This is more just a general good rule for basic.
Yeah.
And human interaction.
That's a pet peeve of mine, is folk that try to finish your sentence and then they're always wrong. I'm like, shut up. No, that's not what I was going to say. Like they're almost like mouthing what you're saying while you're saying it, and they try and predict what you're going to say at the end of the set. Oh my God. There's a friend of mine who does that.
I think one of mine is, I don't mind, because I do it when I'm talking to somebody. I will like nod my head and go occasionally, or like react. What you do when you're a regular human being, social creature. You react to the conversation. But it's when it's like you're just having a conversation and they're like, yes, yes,
it puts you off,
and it's like, I'm like, bruh,
shut up,
stop, shh. Anyway, next thing, Don't drink, eat, smoke, whatever during a rehearsal.
Shoot up. I just
really
saw
annoying.
shoot up.
Shoot, yeah. Right, leave your heroin addiction for like your private time.
Do it after rehearsal.
Don't do
it before
That's
rehearsal.
a
Do it
joke.
after rehearsal.
Same with like whatever recreational drugs you do after rehearsal, not during and not before. It's purely for the selfish reason of for me it's annoying and it slows down the rehearsal. I've been in rehearsals where people have decided to have a smoke, just smoke some weed, and it's like like I don't know if you've ever had to play music with somebody that's high and you're not. It's the worst because I'm like hyper focused. I'm like, all right, let's get this stuff done, and they're gone, man. And it's really annoying. It's like being in it's like when you're the only sober person at a party. It's just like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, you know all about
Yes,
that.
I do.
It's terrible.
Yes.
It's not a good time. I did say that leave that for break times. That's more for like drinking and eating. Water in a rehearsal space is fine.
Cup of tea, cup of coffee.
That's not the thing that I have a problem with. Eating though is really distracting for me sometimes. Like you're just having a rehearsal and there's somebody just munching a sausage roll or like a sandwich and crisps, just like it's like you could have done could have done that 5 minutes before, or why don't you wait till the 15-minute break, and then you can have your snacky, use little snacky and a drinky.
I just love it when they come in with their flaky pastries into my studio after my.
We're not speaking about anybody in particular.
my freshly shampooed carpet, and then they just lovely just press their nice flat soles against the carpet, just rub that buttery pastry right into the flipping carpet. I really love that. Personally, I like that. I don't know what you're talking about, Julian. I really like that when people do that. It's really great. It's good fun.
Oh man,
my Hoover's like, dude,
oh boy,
what is this? This greasy mess. Anyway,
water's fine. That's the only thing I wanted to say. Like, I don't want to be that guy who's like, because rehearsal spaces can get warm if you're moving around a lot. Especially drums can be pretty, physically demanding. So a wee drink of water.
Keep it on the floor. Don't put it on
depending
your
on the
amp.
music, the style of music you're playing. Bring a bottle of water.
Yeah.
But kind of leave other stuff, especially things like sugary drinks and that as well. Think about the studio space that you're using as well.
Yeah.
You spill some Coke or something on the carpet. It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Because it gets all sticky and gross.
I have an old drum rug. I've given it a shampoo and it's fine now, and it lives in the studio. I've got a brand new one for gigs, but the old one, it had a permanent brown square in one corner because
nice.
The gig, I did so many gigs with one band, and one of the band members who was in that corner always had Coke and always left it on my drum rug and always spilled it. And it was a perfect square because my drums just always exposed this square bit of carpet. And it's just this little square of brown, sticky Coke stains.
Grossness, yeah.
And I was like, here we go. There's another can of Coke.
All right. Couple more to go. Don't start a conversation unless it's super relevant. That's to you boomers who like to complain about your wives. That's for the break, right? I don't want you to be spinning any sort of like, oh man, that G major 7 chord you just played there just reminds me how much I hate my. No, that's not relevant. It's got nothing to do with the rehearsal, right? If you're gonna talk about something, it needs to be, especially when you're actually practicing, It needs to be about the music. It needs to be about what you're actually doing. Leave funny anecdotes and things like that for the break. Otherwise you're just gonna slow down the rehearsal like crazy. I'm gonna call myself out. I'm really bad for that. I kind of wrote that for myself because I will just like I will finish playing a tune and then I'll say something along the lines of like, "Oh, remember when we played that at this gig and it was really funny, haha." And then everybody's like, "Yeah," and it just derails the whole, "Oh, you're so funny, Julian," and it just derails the whole thing, Don't do that. That's for break times, Only two more. Only people that are relevant to the rehearsal should be there.
Yes, 1,000 times. And to boomers, don't bring your kids to rehearsal.
Wait, has that actually happened?
That's happened to me.
Oh my goodness!
And a few times, there's some members that bring their kids along, and I'm like, "What are you doing? Like, if you couldn't get a childminder, then you cancel the rehearsal. You don't come. Like, don't bring your kids." Because no, like if they're 16 and they're like moody and they sit in their hoodie and they're on their phone and they're sitting in a corner, fine. But when they're 8, no.
I mean, they don't even need to be in the rehearsal space.
Yeah, they
could
sit,
just like
sit in the hall,
sit outside.
Yeah,
in
the car
with their Nintendos or whatever the hell they have now. I'm joking.
These damn kids
with their PlayStations, their Xbox 3100s. I don't know. Anyway, you get so the only just people that are in the band or relevant to the band. You have a manager or something, and he's wanting to hear. Or you're signed to a label and they're wanting to hear what you're working on, fine, What
about girlfriends, Julian?
No. Unless they actually play an instrument and they play in the band.
Okay.
No.
But she designs the merch, Julian.
No girlfriends, no boyfriends, no wives, no husbands, no nothing. Alright? Nothing. Unless they actually play... Unless they're an actual member of the band, no. Get them away.
And if you need evidence, I've got 2 words for you: Yoko and Ono. That should be enough.
Yes, that old punching bag. But it's. I've been in rehearsals where somebody's girlfriend has been there, and it's crap.
Yeah.
It's really awkward. It's really weird. Don't like it at all. Bizarre. And I was just like, why are you here? Go away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stop putting in your really your dumb you know nothing about music. I don't want to hear your stupid opinions. Get out of here.
Even if they know stuff about music, it's not the project. They're not in the project. They're not in the band. They weren't recruited into the band. They don't.
Exactly.
It's a different thing. You wouldn't bring them to your work and have them sit beside you at your work. It's just no. It's
imagine if like just to point out how stupid that it is. Like imagine if you're the president of the United States and you're having conversation with some military officials or something important, whatever it is, like Space Force, whatever, and you're just like, oh, I've just decided to bring my wife and kids into the meeting room. Right, let's talk about aliens.
You mean like that thing that actually happened, but not in America, in UK?
Wait, I didn't know this.
Yeah, it's Boris Johnson's new wife interrupts cabinet meetings regularly. Oh yeah, look it up. It's hilarious. It's complete cringe.
Oh man, I didn't. Oh, bro, Boris, get your act together, man. For goodness sake.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Don't talk about politics. That's another one as well.
No. Yeah, don't talk about politics. Unless you all agree. I don't know. And last but not least, don't cancel unless it's an emergency. Okay? Now, what is an emergency? Apart from the obvious ones of like family members not well, or car
Steam
has
sale.
broken down, something has happened, you're not feeling well, if an emergency is not, I don't feel like rehearsing today. No, you're gonna get your butt into the rehearsal space, and you'll find that once you're actually there, it's not gonna be so bad.
Yeah.
Right? But don't, because otherwise you're gonna be that flaky guy and then you're gonna get kicked out of the band easily.
Yep.
So I think that one is the most important one. Don't just cancel for the sake of cancelling, because it never looks good. It annoys everybody, slows down the growth of your band and all this stuff. But that's, in my opinion, some notes on how to practice effectively. As a band. If there's anything that you feel like I've missed out, or you want to, you want to give us your thoughts on it, please let us know on whatever platform you're listening to, or send us an email. Stuff like that.
There's one thing I would add, just it's popped into my head. When you're practicing a specific part of the music, maybe a wee complex part, like a section, like a verse or a pre-chorus or whatever it happens to be. I've been in rehearsals that do both of these things. Like one side of the coin is once you get it right, okay, let's just move on. Like, we need to get on to the next bit. No, because like if you've been practicing it and you've been doing this like 16 bar phrase and it keeps getting messed up, or the gelling's just not happening, and then one time you get it and it's like, okay, I think we've got it right, we'll move on. No, you need to solidify it, repeat it a few times to make sure that it's concrete and it wasn't just a fluke.
It wasn't a fluke. Yeah, totally.
And
100%.
then again at the end, go back and then do that bit again and make sure it wasn't a fluke again. So that's one side of the coin, is doing that. You get other people who obsess about one section for too long and don't move on. Oh my God. See, some like band rehearsals I've had in the past where it's doesn't even involve you, and they're just, there's maybe 2 or 3 instruments that are just practicing the same 8 bars over and over and over and over and over and over and over for like an hour, and you're just sitting up the back on your phone just like, oh my God, kill me. Like, that's when sectional rehearsals are practical. Oh, I would hate that. There's some rehearsals I've been to where I've played like 2 notes, like, because loads of other people have been more so in like big orchestral stuff. There's some rehearsals where I would set up the entire section and only play like one instrument twice and then have to pack it all away again, just because other people hadn't practiced and they should have had a sectional rehearsal basically. And it happens in small bands as well, like 4 or 5 pieces where maybe the vocalist is like jamming out with the rhythm guitarist to just make sure he's got the melody right or something, and then the drummer and the bassist are just sitting there like, I don't know,
just bored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was one wee thing I just thought of. Yeah.
No, totally, 100%. I don't know what we're gonna do next week.
No,
I did have an idea though.
Oh.
And I suppose I should drop it in just so we can get some submissions in. If you would like us to, give you our expert opinion on how you could level up your music or your band, feel free to send us links and submissions, and we might possibly have a look at them and we'll give you our thoughts.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
Yes. Yeah. We will
it'd be kind of fun
respond
to
to everybody.
Yes.
I'd love to hear, as well as like something you're struggling with in your band that you maybe want some clarity on, or us to talk about, or experiences you've had that you want to share with us. Funny stories as well. Funny exchanges you've had. I mean, we did that whole episode on the crazy email we got. Like, it's fun. If we could do like episodes on like just funny stories that you guys can share. I mean, even
Totally.
even we'll even take like video comments or video. If you send us like a video of you talking about some story or something, we can even share and react to it or whatever.
Oh yeah,
Anything.
we'll 100%. And good opportunity to share your music with folks as well.
Absolutely. Yep.
Just be aware that we might roast it
Gently roast.
gently over an open fire.
Medium rare.
with lots of care. You know, we'll baste it regularly. It'll come out great.
Oh yeah, Julian's a good cook as well, so we'll be fine. Cool.
Righty.
Episode 70. Wow, 71. I can't believe how many episodes we're in now. It's mental.
Isn't it?
Yeah. People are like, "Oh, do you still have that podcast?" I'm like, "Yeah." We're on like episode 70, and they're like, "What?" Wow, it's been going a while. One a week. Yes, it's mental. It's crazy. And we'll definitely keep it coming. There's loads of things in the future in the pipeline, because bands can actually play gigs again. A couple of my friends I've seen on the social medias. People are actually playing gigs again, albeit like outdoor stuff at the moment. This is today is the 8th of June. So it's looking good. It's looking up. I know I'm like on the brink of gigs. I think by the time this episode comes out, I probably will have played a gig. It's
I've got a couple
likely.
of gigs coming up as well.
Yeah,
it's exciting.
It is proper exciting. It's weird. It's not even gonna be a gentle like, here you go. Here's just a little local gig. We nice easy. No, it looks like one of my first gigs is gonna be in Wales. Like straight in, like massive trip. Overnight.
Man.
Yeah, I think it's a 1 a.m. finish as well. So it's like a 5-hour gig or something. It's gonna be an absolute behumoth.
Oh my goodness.
So
good luck.
Yeah. So as always, it would really help us, and we'd very much appreciate a review on Apple Podcasts, please, because Apple, for whatever reason, just they don't care about podcasts that don't have lots of reviews. They just promote the ones that have loads of reviews. Fair enough, but if it's a good podcast and it has no reviews, then no one cares. So if you truly get value from this podcast and you feel like it's fun to listen to, please tell us on Apple Podcasts. Send us a 5-star review and leave a wee comment if you want. And of course, if you want to get in contact with us, and you've got any ideas or suggestions, or you want to send us some funny stories or whatever, you can do that. Just send us an email, or you can contact us via the website, which is levelupurband.com, or send us a message on Instagram. We're just at levelupurband. Same on Facebook. We're everywhere. YouTube as well. Yep. Cool. So we'll leave that. We'll leave that there. Hope you enjoyed the episode, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.